Welcome back to WikiLert.
September 27, 2025, that routine shattered for one of Britain's most unyielding voices, George Galloway, the firebrand politician, anti-war crusader, and leader of the Workers' Party of Britain. At 71, with a lifetime of defying the establishment etched into every line on his face, Galloway stepped off a flight from Moscow via Abu Dhabi, arm in arm with his wife, Putri Gayatri Purtui, only to be met not by a warm welcome, but by the cold grip of counter-terrorism officers. Detained under Schedule 3 of the Counter-Terrorism and Border Security Act, their devices seized, questions fired like accusations in the dim interrogation room. It wasn't an arrest in the traditional sense, no cuffs or charges, but a 24-hour limbo that left them shaken, their party seething, and the nation whispering, "What the hell is happening to free speech in this country?" If you've ever felt the chill of a world closing in on dissent, this story will hit you like a gut punch. Today, we're peeling back the layers, what really went down at the airport, why it reeks of political payback, and the deeper wound it inflicts on a democracy that's starting to feel more like a cage. Let's rewind to that moment, because the devil's in the details, and this one's dripping with them. It's around 11 a.m., the airport buzzing with the post-flight haze, when Metropolitan Police's Counter-Terrorism Command pulls Galloway and his wife aside. No dramatic raid, no flashing lights, just a quiet, efficient stop at the border, the kind that's become all too familiar for voices that dare to challenge the script. They were fresh off a trip to Moscow, where Galloway had been speaking at a political conference, railing against Western imperialism and the horrors unfolding in Gaza. Photos from May show him on Red Square, defiant amid the Victory Day parade, a gesture that raised eyebrows back home, but nothing more until now. The officers invoke Schedule 3, a shadowy clause from the 2019 Act that lets them detain, search, and grill anyone at UK ports for up to 6 hours to sniff out hostile activity. Phones, laptops, the works seized without a whisper of why. No phone call in those first grueling hours, no lawyer at the ready, just the sterile echo of questions that feel more like a loyalty test than an investigation. The Workers' Party gets the call from police. Your leader's been detained. Panic ripples through the ranks, statements fly on X, and by evening, the hashtag #FreeGalloway is trending, a raw cry from supporters who see this not as procedure, but as punishment. But here's the twist that turns frustration into fury. They weren't arrested. No charges, no court date, just a curt release later that evening, allowed to go on their way, as the Met puts it in their boilerplate statement. A man in his 70s and a woman in her 40s, that's how they describe one of Parliament's most colorful alumni, reducing a legend to demographics. The party's response? A thunderclap of condemnation. This is politically motivated intimidation, they declare, slamming the door on any notion of routine checks. Our leader George Galloway and our Deputy Chair Gayatri Galloway have now been released without charge. We condemn the attempt to intimidate those who seek amity rather than enmity with the rest of the world. You can hear the ache in those words, the quiet rage of a movement built on Galloway's unbowed spine. And Gayatri, Putri Gayatri Purtui, the woman who stood by him through scandals, elections, and exile, dragged into this net for no crime but marriage to a man who speaks his mind. It's personal, it's invasive, and it leaves you wondering, if they can do this to him, who's next? The family man, the grandfather, the voice that's outlasted prime ministers, humiliated at the gate for the sin of boarding a plane to Moscow. To understand why this cuts so deep, you have to step into Galloway's world, a life that's been equal parts triumph and tribulation, all fueled by that unquenchable fire for justice. Born in Dundee in 1954, he rose through Labour's ranks as a young agitator, the guy who'd stared down dictators and dictatorships alike, expelled from the party in 2003 for calling out the Iraq War as a blood-soaked lie, only to roar back as an independent, then with respect, winning seats in Bethnal Green, Bradford, and that stunning 2024 by-election in Rochdale that sent shockwaves through Westminster. 7 times a parliamentarian, anchor of the mother of all talk shows, founder of the Workers' Party, he's the left's rogue poet, the one who quotes Burns while dismantling Blair's legacy. But it's his foreign policy stance that makes him a lightning rod. Unapologetic on Palestine, where he's called Israel's actions a genocide long before it became a dinner table debate, fierce against NATO's forever wars, and now openly skeptical of the West's Russia hawkishness. That Moscow trip? It wasn't a vacation, it was a statement, a bridge to a multipolar world where Britain's not just America's poodle. And in a government under Keir Starmer that's doubled down on anti-Russia sanctions and pro-Israel arms flows. Galloway's the heretic they love to hate. Critics whisper he's a Putin apologist, a Hamas sympathizer, smears that stick like tar because they play on fears, but to his followers he's the last bastion against a foreign policy that's bled the nation dry. Emotionally, this isn't just news, it's a mirror to our fraying freedoms, the slow erosion that leaves you breathless with dread. Imagine it, you're George Galloway, 71 years young, jet-lagged and exhilarated from a week of impassioned speeches, dreaming of the next rally, the next broadcast where you'll eviscerate the warmongers. Then, bam, boots on the ground. Hands up, your wife's wide eyes meeting yours in that sterile room as strangers rifle through your life. The humiliation stings worse than any debate loss. It's the state saying, we own you, even at the border. And for Gayatri, a woman who's navigated her own spotlight as deputy chair, it's a violation that no apology can erase. Supporters pour out their hearts on X. Outrageous, one writes, UK police out of control. Another, from another party leader, this is repugnant, detaining him without charge under the Terrorism Act. Even voices across the aisle, like Heritage Party's David Curtin, call it an outrage, a rare flicker of unity in a polarized age. Tristan Tate weighs in heavy. In 2002, this would have meant explosives. Now, talking to the wrong people. I'm ashamed to be British. It's that shared ache, the fear that law's meant for. Bombers are now leashes for bloggers, that hostile activity is code for hold unpopular views. We've seen it before. Journalists like Richard Medhist and Kit Clarenberg hauled in for similar chats, devices stripped bare, lives appended. It's not random. It's a pattern, a chilling reminder that in Starmer's Britain, dissent isn't debated, it's detained. So, what really happened? On the surface, a routine border stop gone sideways, the Met ticking. Boxes on a watch list that flagged Galloway's passport for his Russian jaunt. Dig deeper, and it's a masterclass in soft repression, the kind that doesn't need handcuffs to cuff your spirit. No evidence leaked of plots or perils, just questions about his trip, his talks, his temerity to travel. Where Westminster warns against. The Act Schedule 3 is broad as a barn door, hostile. Activity could mean anything from espionage to echoing Kremlin lines, but without charges, it smells like a shot across the bow. Intimidate, humiliate, dehumanize as one detained. Journalist put it earlier this year. Galloway himself? He's channeling that trademark defiance. Teasing a full statement tonight at 7 p.m. UK time on his show, George Galloway will make a full statement on the detention under the Terrorism Act of himself and his wife. You know it'll be vintage George, fiery, forensic, laced with that Scottish growl that turns pain into power. And in the fallout, the parties vowing to fight, demands for transparency, calls to scrap the overreach, a rallying cry that freedom of expression is lying on the scrap heap. This incident isn't a blip. It's a bellwether, a stark warning that the line between citizen and suspect is blurring faster than you can say national security. In a world where Netanyahu jets into London with ICC warrants dangling like forgotten confetti, while a 71-year-old dissenter gets strip-searched for schmoozing in Moscow, you can't help but feel the scales tipping toward the powerful. It hurts because it's personal. For the Galloways, it's a family affront. For the left, it's a leader hobbled. For all of us, it's the slow death of debate. Yet there's fire in this fury, a spark that could ignite real change if we fan it. Galloway's no victim. He's a veteran, and battles like this, they've only ever made him louder. If this tale of borders and bravery stirred the fighter in you, hit that like button to amplify the conversation and subscribe for more unvarnished dives into the stories shaking our world. Drop your thoughts below. Political hit job or protocol? Let's unpack it together. Thanks for joining the fray. Stay fierce out there.